Hello, I'm Dr. Mikey Newborn, and this is Leadership Development. Today we're looking at the lesson, Challenge the Process. What does it mean to challenge the process? Well, it's about getting out of the routine or out of the ruts that we often get into in this life. We find ourselves doing the same thing over and over and over again because it's comfortable, because it's something that we know. And sometimes we're afraid to learn new things or to challenge the experiences that we're used to. And so how do we do that? Well, we're going to look at that today in this lesson. It's good to be with you. Let's begin our study. Hello and welcome to Leadership Development. Today we're looking at the lesson, Challenge the Process. We're getting our outline notes from the book, The Leadership Challenge. It's good to be with you. Let's begin our study. I want to start by saying the phrase, bon voyage. That just simply means have a good trip, safe travels, have the time of your life. Get out there and explore. Well, that's important to think of when you're looking at leadership development. We are all on this voyage of discovery. And a lot of what we're discovering is the different traits that we have or talents or gifts that we have, as well as the different things that are in the world and how do those things connect with what we want to do. What about networking? What about getting to know people that share your values and you want to do things with them? Think about that. When we're thinking about joining the voyage of discovery, you're going to want to look at the gifts that you have. Now, God has given everyone gifts and talents and different ways of helping other people, but also contributing something to the world. And so whatever those gifts are that God has given us, we need to know what they are so that we can use them more effectively. You say, well, how do you find out what those gifts are? You might just simply ask the question, what do you like to do? What are the areas that you find yourself serving in that just kind of come naturally to you? Is it teaching? Is it helping people? Is it organizing things? Is it as simple as just giving kind words or maybe contributing to things? Whatever it might be, find what those gifts are and use those. Learn to strengthen those as much as you possibly can and to use those as effectively as you can. Also, discover your personality. What type of personality do you have? There are many types of personalities in the world, and people are sometimes categorized. And I think we have to be careful about that because if we categorize ourselves or put ourselves in a certain group, we might think that that's the only way that we can live. But personalities can develop and change over time. And so we have to be aware of that. But discover who you are and how you respond to things, how you think through things, how do you work through things, how do you work with a team. And that type of understanding will help you for future leadership tasks and responsibilities. Also, discover the opportunities that are out there. What are those opportunities? What are the things around you that you can get involved with and maybe help or maybe just learn from? There's a lot of opportunities for us to learn. We can just get a library card and go learn a vast amount of information. We can also go and sit in at a conference. We can go to a church community group and learn from teachers that are there. There are a lot of ways that we can learn. But one of the great things that we need to do, or one of the important things we need to do, is to look around us and see those opportunities where we can be a part of what's going on. Leaders must search for opportunities to change, grow, innovate, and improve. They must look for those types of things. Also, leadership is an adventure, not a memory of the past accomplishments. We need to see that leadership is not looking back at the things that were accomplished, but it's looking ahead and seeing what's next. What's another experience that I can have or be a part of? I love this quote. It's given by Bruce Lee. Self-knowledge involves relationship. To know oneself is to study oneself in action with another person. Relationship is a process of self-evaluation, self-revelation. Relationship is the mirror in which you discover yourself to be related. I think this is an interesting quote because it is important to know who we are. Who are we as a person in general, but who are we in relation to other people? And when you start working through those things, it'll help define your gifts, your personality. It'll help you to understand maybe even some of the areas that are not known to you, but other people can help you see those things. Also, Seize the initiative. I love this quote. Sometimes later becomes never. Do it now. Seize the initiative. Try to make something happen now. Don't try to push things away. And that's our first point. Make something happen. If you've ever listened to Dave Ramsey speak about money, and he is one of the great experts when dealing with how to be financially successful and as well as take control of your finances. He's very good with those things. But I appreciate one of the things that he does in his steps. He calls them baby steps to being financially secure. But one of the things that he does is he says you need some wins in your life. You need some emotional wins. So you need to pay off those small amounts of credit card debt or small loans that you have. Get some wins under your belt, because by making things happen, it will strengthen you to go do bigger things. So if you're just sitting around the house and you don't have a lot to do in a certain day, maybe think about, what can I accomplish today? What's something I can do? Maybe it's painting something at the house. Maybe it's fixing some rotten wood. Maybe it's making the landscaping look a little bit better at your house. Or maybe it's just reading a book. Maybe it's going and listening to some podcasts. Whatever it might be, get out there and try to discover something new and make something happen. What would have a positive impact on your life or the life of others? Think about that question when you have a little bit of time. What would have a positive impact on your life? What could I do right now that would have a positive impact on my life or the lives of others? Encourage initiative in others. Misery loves company, but purpose and positivity creates companies. Something important about this, and I've thought about this throughout my life, negativity loves company. It's contagious. Once somebody's negative, other people want to be negative too, and they feel a little bit better out by putting other people down because it makes them look higher. But that doesn't really work in reality at all. But instead, purpose and positivity is what builds up corporations and companies. It strengthens people. It builds things when it seems like everything else is against them. So that's a wonderful thing to look at as well. Then lead through assigned work. I like this. Colossians 3:17 says, "And whatever you do in word or in deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him." Lead through assigned work. Now, what we can see here is that as we have things that are designated for us to accomplish, well, we need to lead in those areas. We need to be experts in those areas. We need to do the best that we possibly can. And that's why I put this verse here, Colossians 3, because it's saying, and whatever we do, do in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to the Father through him. So whatever it is, do it with all that you have. Also, make challenge meaningful. Look at this quote. If people are doubting how far you can go, go so far that you can't hear them anymore. I love that quote. Just keep moving past that. When people are telling you you can't do something, just get out of the range of hearing for that, because you don't want that to limit what you're really able to get out there and accomplish. So you want to challenge with purpose. Purpose versus potential. Potential is this idea you might get there. Purpose is saying I'm there, I'm accomplishing what needs to be accomplished. Meaning comes from the inside. What's in the well comes up in the bucket. We've heard that so much in our lives, but it's so true. In Romans 6:13 it reads, "Do not present your members to sin as instruments for unrighteousness, but present yourselves to God as those who have been brought from death to life, and your members to God as instruments for righteousness." What this passage is saying is that the saved believer, the Christian person that has been saved, they are being saved from the inside out. The heart has been changed, the soul has been changed, your spirit has been renewed. Now what's happened on the inside, let it come out in your mortal bodies. Let your body be an instrument of godliness, not an instrument of sin. And that's what he's saying there. Don't hold back or don't pull back the opportunities for righteous living, but instead let the righteous life that God has already accomplished in your soul come out in your daily life. That's what he's saying in Romans 6, verse 13 there. Wonderful verse for us to see what we need to do, because meaning comes from the inside because of what God's done, already done in and through us. Now, innovate and create. Balance the paradox of routine. Traditions versus traditionalism. There's a very big difference between these two things, and we're going to talk a little bit about that on the next slide. But traditions are the things that have happened in the past. Traditionalism is not being able to let those things go. We still have to continue to do them. Routines can often get us into ruts, dull our senses, stifle our creativity, stop our thinking, remove our stimulation, destroy our ability to compete. From the leadership challenge there, that's exactly what happens. That's why you have these groups such as the CrossFit groups. This is a movement, an exercise movement that has happened within the last few years. Several years have become very popular, and it's the idea of changing from event to event to do different exercises to accomplish something new. It's about accomplishing something, and this breaks you out of the normal routine of doing sets and reps. This is more about trying to make something happen for a time, going against yourself. It's competing with yourself, and then also competing with other people, but seeing these unorthodox type of exercise methods to accomplish a greater good. And so that's why CrossFit came about, because people were trying to break out of the routine and they wanted to be more competitive. And so that's what they did. And a lot of people are grabbing a hold of this exercise plan or joining groups or gyms to be a part of that, because it's getting out of the routine. Continuing on looking at innovate and create, we see progress with discipline. Repetition offers comfort, yet stifles progress much of the time. Now, what that means is repetition is comforting to us. We like to know what's coming. We like when the bus shows up on time. We like when our plane shows up on time. We like things that happen in a normal way because we're used to that and we're comfortable with that. But when we get used to things, we stop thinking. We just kind of go. Sometimes we'll be so used to driving home from a certain place, we'll almost go into cruise control in our minds. We don't even know about the trip going home. We don't even remember driving it because there wasn't anything new. It was as if we weren't learning anything new. Very true there. Repetition is measurable, but it's tedious as well. So you can measure it. When things are done over and over and over again, you can see progress. You can evaluate that. It's measurable, but there's also this tedious aspect to that. Then repetition builds strength, but lacks purpose. We definitely see that as well. Now, I want to give you some thoughts with tradition versus traditionalism. Traditions, the way it's been done in the past. Traditionalism, the way it will always be done. So we can't break loose of the way it's done in the past, and we hold on to that and we continue with that. I've got a couple of quotes here that I think are appropriate. Tradition is the living faith of the dead. Traditionalism is the dead faith of the living. And I suppose I should add, it is traditionalism that gives tradition such a bad name. Another quote, not every new idea is perfect and not every old practice is worthless. Kind of helping us understand that traditions are worth respecting. They are worth looking at, and we can learn a lot from traditions. But when we don't learn from them to do new things, we fall into traditionalism, and it takes over our lives and puts us in a routine or a rut that we never get out, we'll never progress. Also, look outward for fresh ideas. There's external and internal communication that's going on all around us. Learning from employees as well as external sources is vital to the success of companies and corporations alike. So we need to look in-house, and then we need to look outside of our company to see what's going on, to learn from each other. Let ideas flow from the outside. Let them flow in from the outside. Remove the creative boundaries that limit innovation. Listen and learn from people outside your organization. If you only look on the inside, you're going to miss what the world is doing. You're going to miss the patterns and the trends that are happening because all you can see is what's going on inside of your company, corporation, maybe within your church or nonprofit, whatever it might be, you're going to miss out big time if you're not seeing what else is going on. I like this quote: learn from the mistakes of others. You can't live long enough to make them all yourself. Powerful saying there. Because if we look at what other people are doing and learning from them, those who are on the outside, it'll keep us or protect us from making the same mistakes that they're actually making. Wonderful for us to look at that as well. Well, this has been Challenge the Process. Good to be with you. God bless you. Bye-bye. All right, that concludes our study for today. As you can see, it is very important for us not to get caught in a rut or to find ourselves just living in a repetitive state of being. We need to be people that are out there learning. We need to be innovative and creative. We need to be learners who are trying to know more about ourselves and more about the patterns that are going on around us. This is a great study for us to know more about, and I hope you'll continue looking into this subject. It's good to be with you today. God bless you. Bye-bye.